everybody, welcome back to the second portion of this video. And so we're back to the bottle with the lemons. Now I have given this painting, let's see, so Friday I painted it. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, now it's Tuesday. So it's had 5 days to dry, and everything is dry to the touch. So all of the painting, even the straight oil paint, it's not tacky. It feels nice and dry to the touch. See? So I feel really good about that because that doesn't always happen. However, I have been kind of going back in my mind and realizing that I don't really like the background. There's some sort of weird reflecting light you guys are getting over here. It doesn't look like that in the painting. This feels better to me. All right, moving on. We have to, the bottle is the furthest object in our still life. So we need to tackle that one first, which is good because it's intimidating and I want to get it over with, frankly. So, anyways, even though I've been painting and, an artist for a long time, I just feel like there are some subjects that always kind of intimidate artists, and everyone has different things that intimidate them. And it's like, no matter how many times I do a successful dog portrait or a successful still life, still, sometimes they feel intimidating, especially things like this glass. So I'm going to show you the reference photo real quick because I haven't done that yet. So here it is. And it's a very pretty one. I got this just offline. It's like a royalty-free one. So it's kind of a turquoisey blue. It's very pretty. And then it's really stark white in the reflections, okay? So I think the best way to handle this is to go from dark blue to light blue. And I'm gonna just do the best I can here because that's all you can do. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is some of you might be saying, why are you using a paper plate to mix your stuff? Well, good question. I typically do have a big white tile that I use to mix colors as a palette, but this I can show you, I can lift up, whereas the tile is very heavy. And that's basically all I got. The other way is, I just wanted to throw these away right after. And we're gonna just try to capture the darks first. The dark places would be here. I feel like this is probably, I need a smaller brush, and I love this brush so much. I got it for a very inexpensive price, and it's just very much worn. It's worn out. I haven't really realized how worn out it is until this painting. Now that's a little bit too light, so I'm gonna go with my second favorite brush, which is this. And this is just like an artist's loft. I just got this at Michael's, which is a store here in the United States. It's like a general craft store. And they don't have a huge supply for oil painters, but you can get what you need in a pinch mostly. So that's my dark blue. And I'm gonna bring the dark blue up all the way down this bottom. The other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of artists would do an underpainting where they would probably just make the whole bottle blue or something and then kind of add in their darks and lights. I don't really like doing that. I want to really make sure that I'm touching that purple and not leaving any marks or any trace of like my charcoal lines, because I do the sketch in charcoal and you want to just make sure you're really covering all of that up. And some people do their sketches in pencil. I think that everyone has kind of a different idea of what works best for them. So I think sometimes when you first start out, you hear all of these things, don't do this, don't do that, and a lot of it's conflicting, and you know, what works for some people won't work for others, and you got to kind of take everyone's opinion with a grain of salt. Unless it's like a really obvious thing, like the fat over lean rule. That's kind of tried and true, but you know, there are some things that are certainly more opinion than anything. And I'm gonna switch brushes to kind of a larger head because this is a big dark strip down here going down. I am a pretty slow painter, but it's funny because there are other mediums I use, like in watercolor, where I remember when I first started out, I used to think, oh, it's going to take me forever. And I was thinking, you know, not that long ago, I used to say, oh, it's going to take me forever to like write this calligraphy out, and I would be making these signs or these like scripture verses on posters, and they would take all night just to do the words in script. And now I could do that same thing when what took like 3 or 4 hours, I could literally get it done in, you know, 45 minutes or so. So it is, you know, possible to get fast at these things, but you don't really want to rush the process, you know. And just because you're a faster painter than others, or someone's a faster painter than you, doesn't mean that they're better. So never measure your work by how long it takes, because I don't really feel like that defines good art, if you can do something quicker. I kind of look at every color and fill in that color, and then kind of blend as needed. Other artists swear by an underpainting. all are great and acceptable things. You just have to figure out what works for you. So you want to try to get out of the comparison game that way too, even with techniques. You know, everyone has a different way of doing things, and that's great. You don't want everyone's art to be looking the same. And this is actually a lighter color, so I think I'll leave that alone. And I'm going to do this as kind of a darker stripe. So I kind of approach these as like a color by number, where I have all these different boxes and shapes of different colors, and I choose one color first to mix it up and then add it to all the shapes with that color, starting with like the darkest color. And then I kind of just progress on and get lighter and lighter until I've hit the whites. You know, if you think about it like that, then these sort of complicated pictures can feel a lot less intimidating, because you never want to let something that feels intimidating stop you from doing it. You know, artists would never accomplish anything if they all thought like that. And I'm also kind of mixing as I go. I didn't really prepare any colors ahead of time. And as I run out, I just kind of mix to the best of my ability what I can. It's nice to have some variation in color, especially in something like this. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. You don't really want it to be, you know. This is kind of this is a fun picture. All right, now I'm gonna go for a little bit more of a green color, and I'm even gonna add just a little bit of white. The whole bottle is pretty complex. I mean, there's a lot of different, there's just a lot of different colors in there. It's, you know, kind of intimidating on first glance because there are so many colors, but you know, I didn't want to let that sway me from attempting this. A lot of people keep everything that they make. I never do. I don't know why. I like to throw it all away. So I'm just kind of mixing things up here. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my darker color again and just kind of let some lines go down. Nothing, just to kind of show some of that variation. I'm not really doing a good job here, but the thought was good, right? It was a good thought. There we go. Now, this is really dark down here, so I'm trying to show that very well. I feel like I'm not really doing a good job here. I love the color of this bottle because it reminds me of like sea glass. It's very pretty. All right, I need to start thinking of something else here. So we've got light, all light. This is all light stuff. And all right, so next I'm gonna mix up like a light blue, like a very light blue. Now, in order to blend these lines together. I'm going to make sure that I have a pretty clean brush because I don't want them to look like they're sitting side by side. I really want them to kind of blend together. So I'm going to go over them with the paintbrush. Go over both of them at the same time. Now, unfortunately, what that also does is it kind of lightens up this, which is okay, because then I can just go back and darken that one right there, okay? So that's how we do that. Now, I'm still not sure I'm loving the blue that I made. Maybe that's a little bit better. But anyone that's gonna buy this painting isn't gonna have the reference photo. They're gonna just say, oh, what a beautiful blue bottle. So that's one thing to keep in mind as you're painting. If you feel like you've gone too far from the reference photo, remember, you're probably the only one that knows what the reference photo looks like. There's a lot of artistic license to be had in these situations. This one's a challenge because it's literally white. And so I'm gonna have to go in. First, I'm gonna go in with this color because between the white, it's kind of this green. The light in. See what I've done? I've actually messed up the whole shape of the bottle, which is fine because we can handle that. What I now have to then do is, first of all, blend this blue, because that's what I said I was going to do. I was gonna put in this dark and then blend it down. So let me do that first. And we need to go a little bit darker probably. Go down a little more. All right, that looks halfway decent. Probably gotta pick this black up a little bit and go up. All right, that looks fine. So now I've got to deal with the fact that this looks completely different. So how do I do that? This has kind of a darker side, so I'm gonna go down like this. And all I have to do is can't believe I did this. I can believe it, but I can't believe it. All right. That looks a little bit better. I just made it really dark or really black. So I've got to lighten it up now. Lighten it up, lighten it up, lighten it up. Oh, lighten up. Oh, lighten up, Caitlin. I really want to emphasize the green. I love the bluish green color, but I like it when it's a little bit more green than blue. That feels more oceany to me, and for some reason I'm trying to go for an ocean thing. No clue why. I'm really trying to capture a sea glassy look here. Again, this a little on the greener side. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit. All right, that's feeling good. All right, now this is very light green. I'm gonna try to work on this next. This is just kind of it's just kind of where this dark, like the bottleneck kind of fountains off. And it is on the darker side here. So I'm gonna just kind of get some dark turquoise on my brush and blend everything. And I'm going to take it all and I'm going to blend it downward. Or all my kind of, every area that's not white, I want it to be nice and filled in. Okay. And then I can start going in with the lighter colors, the much lighter colors. All right, so I feel like I only have really light areas to go. Now I'm going to just start adding in some white in some areas. So for some reason, I don't have pure white right now. Like I do, but it's coming out of the bottle as not so pure white. So I know that seems a little strange. I'll tell you why. It's because the cap doesn't fit on the bottle. So I had to throw away the cap and I switched it with a green cap. And now there's green that comes out of the tube. It's very stupid and hard to explain, but all that to say, my tube of white comes out not so white. So this is where my realism takes a turn for the worst. Because in order to get this to look very realistic, you would need a much thinner brush and possibly a steadier hand. So I want this to look like a bottle, but I'm not ever really going for realism. All right, so I just wanted to kind of denote some of those stripes, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not going for perfect. Perfect is impossible. Or perfect is in the eye of the beholder. All right, so let's see. There we go. Now, where else is pure white? So this is pure white. And pure white is a relative term right now. Now these are actual like triangles on the, or I'm sorry, these are like very angular reflections because of the shape of the bottle. And then there's just one more. And that's here. I've muddied the color a little bit. That's all right. It was a little muddy to begin with. It's pretty white, pretty white. I'm gonna just do a big chunk. So now this part of the bottle, it's not quite white, it's like purple-ish because it's reflecting off something, but it works because I've got some purple from the background. So it's always nice when you can incorporate another part of the background or the painting into an area. You want to kind of have all your colors in more than one location. I'm not explaining that right. Like let's say you had a pink sky and you were doing a landscape, then you would want to try to incorporate that pink in the sky somewhere, maybe in the mountains or something like that. It's just kind of a trick to make the picture look, painting look more cohesive. So just a trick. And not everybody does that. And lots of artists that don't do that can make a lot of beautiful work. So that's just one way. But I do try to do that when I can. Just get a little bit of a pure white if I can. And make this a little bit whiter. So I'm seeing now that I've made my reflections like way too long. Distractingly long, if you will. So I am gonna go back in with some of my green. And I'm just gonna, and that actually blends it with the white. That just looks really good. I'm glad I did that. So I'm gonna do that with the other two as well. Then it has kind of this other strange reflection that's, I'm gonna actually make it the color of the light purple background, just to add some interest. I just got a little too sloppy there, but it's all right because I can just go in like that. And I got sloppy again. All right, third time's gonna be a charm here. You know what I gotta do is I gotta clean my brush. There we go, that's the color we like to see. So now as we move farther away, we're getting to some more greenish reflections. So not so much white, but like a minty green. Now I'm still not satisfied with how these are coming out, and I'm not sure why. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just try to blend them out more like this. And all I'm basically doing here is I'm tapering them off into something that feels a little more natural, even though the reference photo has these more rectangular. I just, upon seeing it, didn't love the rectangular. So I'm just switching that up a little bit. Okay, I love the water mixables, but I gotta say, it is not easy to get the paint off, even with water. You really gotta get in there and scrub. So just keep that in mind when you're using them, that just because they're water mixable doesn't mean that water is gonna just cause them to fall right off. All right, so we got kind of a pretty green here. Oh, that's pretty. It's not really like the reference photo, but I think I like it better. All right, I'm gonna cascade that down. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna just make a lot of this a little bit lighter than what the picture represents, and then just kind of fix it from there. All right, so I'm gonna get all the paint off my brush. And then I'm gonna go in and do my blending trick where I kind of just sweep this over both colors. Okay, so I'm just kind of blending things together. And by doing that, I'm kind of changing the shape of some of these reflections, but you know, I'm less concerned about that. I'll try to get them back a little bit, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I feel like I'm saying that 100 times. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be perfect. To me, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, there's something about the beauty of a you know, more painterly picture that captures you more than something that looks like a photo. To me, the photorealism is really impressive when you can get something to look so real it looks like a photo. However, that's not really my style. I can appreciate that, but the pictures I love the most are a little bit more impressionistic, a little bit, or whimsical, a little bit looser. I don't have any famous artists particularly in mind, but I like things to look a little bit more artistic as opposed to perfectly realistic. But people love perfectly realistic, and there's perfectly nothing wrong at all with that. It's just whatever your style is. And my style has changed because I used to really, really strive for photorealistic things. And a lot of my earlier work in different mediums was very photorealistic, but you know, I've just come a way to appreciate things that aren't so realistic. All right, so I am getting down to the dregs of this bottle, if you will. I'm going to do a little bit more up here with the white since it's in my hand. Brushes over here. And I'm trying to show the highlights at the top of the bottle there. Now the other thing I really need to do is to make sure that this bottle kind of comes down. This is not an easy still life, I've got to say. Not that I was going for easy, but my goodness, this is not an easy one. It's the bottle. Well, this, however, does need to be addressed. Okay. I gotta stop. I gotta stop before I drive myself crazy. I'm gonna do one more stripe down the middle of that bottle. There we go. Yeah, what did I just do? One more stripe down the middle of this bottle. And now I gotta fix all of this that I just messed up. Just for good measure, add a little bit more of this purple right down here. I think I just overdid it. All right, done. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the bottom of the bottle, which is just like a darkish purple. It's like a reflection of the wall and the brown table. And just kind of try to go under the best that I can here. And that will go right down to where the bottle ends, like that. And I'm going to just kind of let it get darker and darker. what I might do is I might take eyes off of it for a few hours, go to bed, and then come back and completely change it. So I will not let you know if that happens, but until then, we're almost done with the painting. We just have to do the lemons, which I think are not going to be the hardest part, but I've been fooled before. So enjoy. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you liked this, please hit like. And if you are interested in seeing what I do with the lemons and how the completed picture is going to turn out, ooh, I'm tired, then subscribe to my channel. And that would be great. So thank you so much. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.